Hey there, All Things MSP crew. I am here with Eddie Phillips from Ironscales. Now, Eddie, before we get started, because I think we have an interesting story to tell between the two of us, because we got our start kind of very similar to the same.
Very, very parallel.
More gray here, so decades apart. But anyway, tell us what you do at Ironscales and just a little bit about Ironscales, and we'll talk a little bit more about Ironscales towards the end as well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. First off, thanks for having me, Eric. This is exciting. Here we are at Beyond, and so much energy, and so that feeds into why I'm here and what we're looking to do. So I do work for Ironscales. I am the head of our partner success team. As far as the hats that I wear, there are many. I am their resident cyber evangelist, but it's all about coming back to the partner, making sure that we're delivering on the promises that they're expecting us to.
Right, because if, like so many businesses in this space, if the partner's not successful, the vendor's not going to be successful. So I think partner success is a linchpin of many of these organizations, and I think it works really well when that vendor picks a former MSP, because we've walked the walk, right? We've spoken their language, we've done what they've done, and it really helps us to understand what we can do to help them be successful.
Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. In fact, I joke often that owning an MSP was my 14-year social engineering experiment just so that I could hold a vendor accountable. And I'm having a blast with it, right? So it doesn't take me long to mention that I am a previous MSP owner to our PAC members, to our customers, so that they know I've walked in their shoes, and I'm here to make sure that, again, what we're promising to deliver is what we're going to deliver.
Well, and because this industry is so weird in the way MSPs have to do things, well, I think it all comes down to, and I know we have other things to talk about, but it comes down to dealing with an SMB world.
Right.
Because it's so diverse. It's not like the enterprise space where it's much more homogeneous, right?
That's right.
So I think that's where it really helps having that MSP sit in that partner success seat at a vendor.
Well, yeah, right. I mean, the MSP has to deal with so many different clients that have different cultures and different methods of communication and different requirements when it comes to, not just to security, but in the way that they do business and the way that they carry that out. And that's something that I often try to communicate to the I'm working for Ironscales now. Previously, I was with Malwarebytes. When I speak to leadership, when I speak to some of the salespeople, when they come to a conference, have a look around at all of these different vendors that are out here. Endpoint protection, or in Ironscales case, email security is not their world. It's our world because we work in it every single day, but it's not their world. And so we need to minimize the amount of time they actually need to spend with it.
And that's, security and threats are just they have a huge impact on the MSP when they happen. And so everything I think an MSP can do to prevent those things from happening are really necessary and critical things to the MSP stack. And I know we've both been MSPs, and I'm sure we both have ransomware stories. And yours actually involves email.
It does.
And so it makes it very relevant to this conversation.
Yeah, I mean, back in 2014 when ransomware was thankfully not doing data exfiltration yet, at least the version that we got wasn't, and it was like the absolute worst time. It was our biggest client. They are a worldwide clothing manufacturer. They were putting together their whole reseller catalog, and it was 14 terabytes of live data between video and pictures, and they got hit, and it was honestly, Eric, it was kind of embarrassing because the CEO had to call us to tell us they had ransomware.
Yeah, not the best.
No, and so that really sat us back on our heels. And so from then what we did is we tore down our entire security approach, and it made us rethink how we were doing it. But it came in through, let me tell you the most embarrassing part of this whole story, and I haven't shared it yet, is that it did come in through a phishing email. And when I began to, we had a lessons learned and a post-incident meeting with our client, because they want to know why it happened. They're paying us to do their security. How could this possibly happen? And so I sat in a boardroom with the CEO, a couple board members, our primary contacts, some managers. And when I began to describe the situation after we'd done our forensics investigation and talked about how it was a phishing email and talked about how it was social engineering, the CEO said something to me that I will never forget. And he sat back and he looked at me and he says, "Oh, a phishing email. Phishing emails are like IQ tests, and that employee failed an IQ test." And Eric, that was my stomach sunk, and that caused us to rethink not only our security, but how we informed and educated our clients, and it led us down the path towards not just better email security, but better security awareness training. Like it was an entire paradigm shift.
Because that's really where a lot of the risk lies. It lies in the humans, which we're getting to this age of AI where I'm not sure it's going to be better, because there's so much opportunity for it to be better and worse at the same time.
There's two sides to that coin, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. But I think that email as a form of communication is going to be around for a long, long time.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going anywhere. And so we have to protect clients from both the social engineering side of it and the technical side of it. And of course, Ironscales helps with that.
They do. And here's the cool thing about email and about securing email, certainly in the way that Ironscales does, is that you just mentioned that AI, it could be a double-edged sword, right? But the cool thing about email, and I think why a product like Ironscales is so effective, is because everything happens in a box. Yep. And I'm not talking the Ironscales portion, I'm talking your email, right? So in the case of, say, Microsoft 365, an Exchange Online, your email comes in at a known point, your email goes out at a known point, and it comes, and you are responding through that same box. So we can draw a virtual dotted line around email and how it works. And so, unlike a lot of other areas, when it comes to solving tickets, like it'd be difficult to have an AI utility or agentic AI fix a printer, because there's just too many variables. Fortunately, in email, there's not a lot of variables that you can't control within that quote-unquote box. And so when we start to talk about how Ironscales integrates at the API level, it doesn't send your email off to a gateway, it doesn't make copies of it. We can really start to look at being effective using AI.
Well, and that's one of the things I really like about Ironscales, when I was looking into it at one point, was the fact that you don't have to redirect DNS.
Right.
And so you have one less point of failure for mail delivery, and to me that's huge.
Yes. Yeah, that point of failure around the MX records, I've been working with a couple of MSPs lately that are moving away from your traditional security email gateway that we're all used to.
Yep.
And that's their biggest fear, is like they've had these in place for so long. They have to adjust journaling rules, and they have to adjust MX records, and they have to adjust their connectors to make sure they don't break their email. The risk around having those traditional gateways is so significant that when you begin to look at a solution like Ironscales, you begin to see the ease of use, the ease of implementation, and the hands-off ability to manage security for your email.
So what other layers does Ironscales provide when it comes to email?
Oh, yeah. So, so just to take a step back, I'm fairly fresh at Ironscales, but when I approached them, or they had approached me actually to come on board, it's the kind of product where before I can ever do this with you, or before I can ever get on a stage or get on social media, I have to believe in the product. So they gave me a 2 weeks access just to play with it, implement it, make sure it was going to live up to my excitement around it.
Which, by the way, to our previous conversation, only an MSP would be able to do that.
Right.
Because only an MSP who hasn't been doing this for, I haven't been doing it for almost 12 years now. I still have a test environment in my house. So I'm betting that you probably have something similar still.
Yes, absolutely. I've got my own domains, and I get to play with stuff like this, right? And the thing, what really jumped out at me are some utilities and some abilities through the solution that I am honestly super excited about. So just to delve into those, there's this, if you sign up for a trial or get an NFR as an MSP, you can deploy trials for your clients, and what we do is something called a 90-day scan back. So it's 3 clicks to implement it. Like you said, it uses it's at the API level, and so we're hooking directly into M365 or Google Workspace, and we can do a 90-day look back where it looks at all of the email that your current solution missed. So if you're an MSP like my MSP was, where we generated a lot of revenue and gained a lot of customers through doing security audits and assessments.
Right.
If we had a tool like that to be able to go to a client and say, hey, look, this is what your current solution is missing, it opens up the eyes of your customer, right?
Yeah.
To be able to show them how things can be improved. So that's a phenomenal tool. I love that one.
Yeah, and there is really nothing more powerful than that.
Right?
Being able to do a proof of concept, and again, without having to interrupt their mail flow by changing MX records.
Yep.
People just don't understand how huge that is for those of us who had to live through that pain.
Yes, no kidding, right? Like the ability for Ironscales to implement like 1 or 2 click implementations when it comes to email security, when it comes to security awareness training, when it comes to our new hosted DMARC solution is the same way. It's like you set the settings, you click the button, it automatically connects to your DNS hoster, you put in the credentials, and that's it. Now you can monitor it, report on it, get alerts for it. Like that is definitely the theme through Ironscales is easy implementation.
Now I know that I had this question when I was looking at it. Because you're using an API,
yes,
there's obviously the mail comes into the mailbox,
right.
Then Ironscales reads it, and my question was, well, how long does that take?
So from the test that I did personally, because I had the exact same question, I couldn't find an instance where I was able to see the email before it actually touched it. So it's extremely fast.
And that is one of the things that really, really impressed me. I mean, I liked the no DNS or no MX record change, but the fact that you could do it and do it faster than I would actually see the email or be notified of the email was huge.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's one of the strengths, and also the ability to retroactively, pull an email out. So, I mean, like I told you, I mentioned to you, maybe it was offline, where looking back, my MSP it was good. Was it great? No, I mean, I don't know if you could maybe classify too many MSPs these days that are great and actually keep up with all the things.
I feel the same way about mine, so I get that feeling.
But when you start to look at the ways that you handle things like a phishing email being reported, like too many MSPs are still having their users forward them the email so they can investigate it. What I love about our product is when you are alerted, because we've got the built-in phishing alert button, you can, through the console, see all the data that you might do manually. Like you might want to look at DMARC and see what the DMARC status is. You might want to find who received a copy of the same email, because the safest person is the person who reported it, right? Basically.
Right.
And so if you want to know who else, you've got to go into, say, Exchange Online and do a trace.
Right. Yep.
And then, the email could easily have been, forwarded or sent under different domain names. So this is where Ironscales gives you that one view to being able to see, hey, there was similar language used in other emails. How many other people, received it? And you can, with one click, you can rip it all out, right? It's phenomenal as a incident response tool as well.
So what you're saying is it dramatically increases the speed at which you can analyze and remediate those issues that somebody else reports, not necessarily the detection in Ironscales.
Yeah, exactly.
Which
So
there will always be those things.
Oh, of course, because no solution is 100%. I will never say that any cybersecurity product is 100% effective. But what we can do is that when something does get through, you're able to respond and react properly. So it's a difference between 30 minutes or 27 minutes, I think is the average we figured out, to investigate, remediate, communicate a phishing email that made it through your security, versus less than a minute to look at the console, understand if it's phishing, click a button, and rip it out of everybody's mailbox.
And that's extremely helpful in terms of making sure that nobody else gets to click on that email.
Exactly. You nailed it.
Awesome. So a little bit, how do partners work with Ironscales?
So there's a few different ways. We do have a direct partnership. We also, of course, through Pax8. In fact, we were the original email security solution with Pax8. So we're thrilled with that partnership. We do have a couple of other distributors out there. SureWeb's come on board, and then a couple of overseas. Okay,
and of course we are here at Pax8.
Absolutely,
Leon. This is a great show, and for being the third year of this show, I mean, not just the size, but the content.
Yeah.
They do it. That's what the CEI back here stands for, is community, education, and innovation, and they really do bring that to the table here with all these speakers.
Such a unique, phenomenal event, and the investment in and like you just said, the education for MSPs around security and around growth and around sales and market, like there's no subject that is untouched that I feel that MSPs need to harvest that that information to succeed.
And I think that, and there's a lot of it here at the show around AI. And we didn't talk about that, and we're probably not we don't have time to go into that. But one of the things that I think is interesting, if you're looking at the things that have happened over the last several years, obviously security and compliance is a big one.
Yeah.
But that's primarily risk. Some opportunity for the MSP, obviously, because there are tools and services to implement to protect their clients from those risks. But AI actually has the ability to be a risk as well as an opportunity for both the MSP and their client
100%.
Because of what it can do, and especially what the new agentic AIs are going to be able to do.
100%.
So really looking forward to that. And hey, maybe Ironscales can do an agent to do some of that automatic remediation so it makes it even faster.
Right? It's it's ever evolving, and I'm wouldn't be surprised at all.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Eddie.
It was sure great to meet you, Eric.
Have a great show.
All right, thanks a lot. You too.